Hello everyone and welcome back to Speak Like a Leader. I'm Paula and today we're going to be opening a new series of videos called Business Case Studies. Now, many of my students have requested this because working on case studies, on real-life case studies, is a very good way of learning new business English vocabulary, nice expressions, and also looking at what's happening in the world and how companies are dealing with different problems. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to go through the first case study, which is connected to an example with an incident from a famous company, an airline company more specifically, and how they dealt with a specific problem. So we're going to go deep into that. I'm going to take you through the case study, and then I'm going to take you through exercises as well. The second case study to follow is a case study that is related again to a crisis. The second company is going to be Starbucks. So the second case study is a company named Starbucks and an incident they had with racial discrimination. And the third case study is going to be about Johnson & Johnson, the well-known established company, with an issue they had with one of their products, and more specifically, Tylenol. Okay, so in these case studies, what we're interested in is also developing our debate skills. So how can we argue different opinions? Do we agree with something? Do we disagree with something? And what is the language that we use when we want to go through these kind of situations that are very common in a business context? So why don't we jump in to one of these case studies right now? The first case study we're going to be working on is about United Airlines, and the incident was a passenger dragging incident. Now, let me explain how you should be working on these case studies. Initially, you should read the entire case study. This is a 3-page case study, which we will go through together, just the first few paragraphs, so you understand how I want you to work on it. And then you can move on to the exercises that start on page 4 of this PDF file. Okay, so when you start reading it, what I want you to do is realize that in some instances, I have highlighted in red some nice words and expressions. So as you move down through the case study, you will find some nice words and expressions. Do you see the red ones highlighted? This is what I would like you to do when you're reading any kind of article or case study. I want you to highlight not just the word that you would like to learn, but the whole expression or sentence that that word is incorporated in. Okay, why don't we start reading the first paragraph to see what I mean? So the introduction goes as following. United Airlines, one of the largest airlines in the United States, encountered a severe public relations crisis in April 2017, when a passenger was forcibly removed from an overbooked flight. This incident, captured on video and widely shared on social media, sparked global outrage and highlighted issues within the airline's policies and customer service practices. This case study examines the origins of the crisis, its consequences, United Airlines' response, and provides insights on how companies should prepare for and respond to crises. So what this case study is all about is an airline, an American airline, which was overbooked. Now, this is a policy that many airlines follow. So they usually overbook their flights. For example, if they have 200 seats, they will usually book 210 seats, for example. So there might be a 5% or a 10% overbooking rate. And the reason is that they want to make sure that if some of the passengers do not come to the flight, the entire flight will be fully booked. So they're basically making more money out of the seats that they actually have to sell, which could be considered unethical. So in this video, what happened was, because the flight was overbooked, they asked passengers to be removed from the flight, maybe to take another flight, the following flight. But because nobody wanted to leave the flight, they forcibly removed someone from the overbooked flight. This means that they used force. They violently removed someone from the overbooked flight. And this sparked global outrage. This means that it instigated a huge reaction on a global scale. Nowadays, with social media, it is very, very easy for an incident, even a small little incident, to spark into a global outrage because somebody uploads it on social media and it becomes viral. So what happened here is that everyone around the world learned about this incident on social media, and it sparked global outrage. So as you move along through the case study, you will understand how this crisis emerged over here. You will also see the consequences of this crisis, and the consequences for the company was its reputation damage. There was also a financial impact for United Airlines. There was legal and regulatory scrutiny, so there was an investigation on United Airlines, and it also affected its customer trust and loyalty, because the incident eroded customer trust and loyalty. When something is eroded, it's not any longer as strong as it used to be. It's weaker, because many customers vowed, they promised to avoid flying with United Airlines, and the company faced a wave of negative publicity, including calls for boycotts. So boycott is when many people suggest that we should never fly again with this airline. Following in the case study, you'll go through the response from the company, how they issued public apologies, the different policy changes they made, how they trained their employees for empowerment, how they dealt with settlements and compensation, and also how they engaged with their stakeholders. And then the case study closes with lessons for companies on crisis management. So how should companies deal with crises? They should issue apologies swiftly, quickly, with empathy. They should review and revise their policies. They should consider employee training and empowerment. They should use transparent means of communication, which means open communication, honest communication, and also create risk management proactively. So before the crisis happens, the company should be prepared with policies and avenues to deal with the risk, with the problem, with the crisis. Okay, so as a conclusion, it says the United Airlines passenger dragging incident serves as a stark reminder. It serves as a very, very strong reminder of the potential for operational practices to lead to public relations disasters. Okay, so these are the 3 pages. What I would like you to do is to read through them, make sure that you understand the whole context, focus on the highlighted vocabulary and expressions, and then move on to page number 4, where we have exercises. Now, let me take you through these exercises. The first one is a discussion exercise. So there are some questions related to the case study that I would like you to go through. For example, what were the key factors that led to the crisis for United Airlines? Now, a good idea here is to use this exercise as a writing exercise. So instead of just thinking about it, you can write a few sentences down. They don't have to be very long. You can just write 2 or 3 sentences and try to be concise. Try to be very specific. So what we want to take care of here is be specific. So every sentence, every new sentence should give me new information. So we don't want to be repeating ourselves. I want you to take a look at how you move from one sentence to another, what kind of transitioning words you're using. And then when you finish writing the 2 or 3 sentences, proofread it. So go through it again and see if you can find any grammar mistakes, any spelling mistakes, or if there's another way to upgrade some of the nouns or some of the verbs that you used in your sentences. You don't have to go through all of them. You can choose 1, 2, or 3, depending on how much time you have. Now, exercise number 2 is a fill-in-the-gap exercise. It's multiple choice. So it has to do with the case study that you just read, and I want you to find the right answer in each case. Let me give you an example. Number 1 says, United Airlines faced severe public relations damage due to the incident, which was widely what? It was widely shared on social media. Okay. So in this exercise, we just want to find the right choice. Let me take you to exercise number 3. So exercise number 3 is a fill-in-the-gap exercise again, where you have to find the missing prepositions. So number 1 says the incident occurred when, what is the preposition that we use to describe days? It's on April 9th, 2017. Now, why is it on and not in? Because for months, we have the preposition in, because it's a specific day of the month. It's like saying occurred on Wednesday. So occurred on April 9th. Moving on to exercise number 4, we have a word building exercise. So you have some words here in bold, as you see, and what we want is to create words from the same family. So maybe you have to turn a verb into a noun or an adverb or an adjective. For example, number 1 is the verb to apologize. And the sentence says, the CEO issued a public, so you need a noun. A public what? A public apology. GY. So the verb is to apologize. The noun is apology. Okay. Exercise number 5 is again a fill-in-the-gap exercise, but here I'm giving you some words to fill in the gaps. So your words are crisis, transparent, compensation, initially, revising, viral, backlash, and settlement. So I want you to try to use these words in the gaps by trying to find them from the context of this paragraph. Okay. And finally, exercise number 6 are idioms connected to the case study. So expressions, idioms that we use in English that could be connected to this case study. For example, idiom number 1 is backlash. If you remember, this was a word that we also saw in exercise number 5 over here. So in exercise number 6, we explain it. A backlash is a strong negative reaction to a decision or action. For example, United Airlines faced a massive backlash after the passenger dragging incident. Okay, so you have 10 idioms here. One way that you can work on them is you can just go through them. So read the definitions, read the examples, make sure that you understand what they mean. And then if you want to, you can write down one sentence for each idiom, including information that's connected to your work or your life. So make it personal, because if you incorporate this word into a sentence that means something to you, there are higher chances that you are going to remember it. Now, moving on to page number 10, you will find the answer files. So for each and every exercise, I'm sharing the answers with you so you can cross-check your answers and make sure that they're correct. And if not, understand why you made mistakes and where you made these mistakes. Okay, so I hope you find this case study interesting. It will be, of course, included in the description of this video. So feel free to open it, go through it, examine it, and improve your business English skills. If you like this case study, subscribe to our channel because there are many more case studies to follow that you can use on a daily or weekly basis to practice your business English skills.